Kravets. If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing Podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to the world premiere episode of The Leaderboard, sponsored by TwinSpires. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravets. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight as we have a brand new show on the HHH Racing Podcast, and we welcome all fans of TwinSpires as we are live not only on the HHH Racing Podcast YouTube and X handle, but also the TwinSpires YouTube and X handle. So welcome to everyone. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right hand side of the screen, hit the notification bell on the top right, and smash that like button below the video player. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor, and you can follow us on X at HHH Racing Pod as I go ahead and move that over so there's no glare right there. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. Again, this is our world premiere show of The Leaderboard. The format of this show is to talk specifically about TwinSpires contest. And let me tell you something. TwinSpires does a great job with their contest. They've been around for a while now. I've been a TwinSpires member for at least 20 years. I use their ADW all the time. And with their invent of their contest plays, it's been a game changer. I'm a huge fan. It's been fantastic. I play in contests, and this show is going to focus on the contest. Now, what are we going to bring to you? We're going to talk contest strategy, live money contest strategy. We're going to talk about the previous Saturday's big contest on TwinSpires. We're going to preview the big contest coming up this Saturday. We will have a special guest. And even if you're not a contest player, this is a must watch because we're going to be giving betting advice as we usually do throughout the week, but very specific to contest players and for hitting a target. And you always want to try to hit a target, even in your day-to-day betting. So this is going to be a fantastic show. I want to personally thank everyone involved with TwinSpires, especially Evan Morris, Director of Marketing, who reached out to us to do something like this. And we're also going to be doing other things with TwinSpires as well, especially on the social media angle. So before I bring in my co-hosts, and we're going to have two co-hosts every night, although there are going to be three co-hosts on tonight because this starts our show, our premiere show. But first, we're going to have a guest, and we won't always do this on our normal shows, but tonight is special because it is our very first episode. So let me bring on the Director of Loyalty and Retention for TwinSpires, but really, I'll just call him the CEO of Tournament Play. Let's bring him on right now. Darren Zocali. Darren, welcome to episode 1 of The Leaderboard. How you doing tonight?
That'll probably be the first and only time in my life that the letters CEO get attached to my name, so I'll take it.
There you go. Darren, appreciate you joining us. I know you're a little bit short on time tonight, so let's just get right to it. We have a lot of people watching and listening, and obviously as the first night, we're going to have more and more people watching as we grow together with TwinSpires. Let's just start right off the top. Why would anyone who's interested in horse racing and betting be interested in TwinSpires contests?
Yeah, I really think that our product and development team has done a tremendous job in terms of the formats that they put together. The TwinSpires tournament lobby is just a tremendous, easy to use, great user interface, and there's something for everybody. If you are on the lower end of the contest play where maybe it's a little bit intimidating and, you see these big monstrous tournaments with huge bankrolls, but you don't necessarily have to start there. And we have $40 cash contests, $50 cash contests that you could take part in and still win some significant cash prizes for not a lot of money and also keep your bankroll for all of the winnings that you have throughout the contest. And if you are a significant tournament player, we have those feeders, those big qualifiers, those larger cash tournaments, and even the mini majors and the big majors like the Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge. But for TwinSpires tournaments, the one thing we've learned since we've started is we have to listen to the tournament players. And I think we've done a really good job of that. We started with focus groups. We spent a year and a half gathering research before we implemented everything that we had and kind of rolled out the tournament landscape. And we continue to do that. And we talk to our tournament players, some daily, weekly, and take their ideas and their advice, implement into what we do. So the reason that you should come is because you're going to see a lot of the things that you've asked us for and you've suggested on our site. And I think that's what helps us stand out from the industry.
No, it's fantastic. Look, there's a lot of competition out there, as you know, Darren, not only with ADWs, but of course, contest playing. You guys jumped into the deep end and done a great job. So my hats off to you guys. Before I briefly show the, go to twinspires.com, Darren, and show people where they can find out about tournaments. Let's talk about something very exciting that you and I just talked about last night. If people watch this show, very soon they're going to have an opportunity to have some free tournament vouchers. Who doesn't want to enter a tournament for less money than everyone else? And the only way they're going to be able to do that, Darren, is that they watch this show. So talk about tournament vouchers, when that may start, and what that's going to involve, specifically in relation to the leaderboard.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to create a promotion specific to the leaderboard that we're going to give you guys an offer code that you can put up on the screen. You could talk about, and your viewers can then take that offer code, go to our offers page where there is a white space that you could enter your offer code to trigger it, and they will have an opportunity to get a piece of that exclusive bonus where whatever the promotion is, whatever it requires, you will be rewarded with tournament vouchers that you can use and cash in to play in TwinSpires tournaments. It's going to be specific for this podcast, so your viewers can certainly jump in there and take advantage of it. And it's coming very, very soon, hopefully within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. Before we let you go, we appreciate coming on. I'm going to very quickly, and we're going to talk more in detail with our co-hosts in just a moment, what people are going to see here. So what do you see on the screen? You go to twinspires.com. Just explain very quickly, Darren, what people see on the screen, and maybe one characteristic in particular you think is excellent for the future contest player.
Yeah, so on the left-hand side, you see that filter. You can design our tournament page to really be whatever you want it to be based on the type of tournaments that you play. You could filter it to see only the tournaments that you are registered for. You could select it by the type of tournament, whether it's a feeder or a qualifier. If you want to just look at the cash tournaments, you can opt to do that, and it'll take the feeders and the qualifiers out of it. You can just look at the ones that give you seats for certain contests, NHC, BCBC, KDBC. And then you can even go by price point. You can go by racetrack. And when you start registering for these tournaments, you could even select an option where you only see the tournaments that you are actually registered for, and you could clear out any of the noise that you don't want as well. So it really is quite simple. You could sort this and filter it any way you want, but this is updated pretty much daily, constantly giving it, listing the tournaments. Usually a week to 10 days out, you'll see what's coming up in the next week. So you could even circle that on your calendar, and you could say to yourself, I got an off day on Thursday. I'm going to play this tournament at TwinSpires. So I just think the user interface and how easy it is for the players to use is a huge plus for us.
It's great. A quick promotion on anything big coming up with TwinSpires contest.
Yeah, for sure. So Saturday we have a big one. We have the Claiming Crown NHC qualifier. $500. The only way you can get into the NHC is by winning your way in. And kudos to the people over at the NTRA for reaching out to us many months ago, asking us to do this. So for $500, you can register, and we're going to guarantee 2 NHC seats are going to be awarded in this contest, plus cash prizes as well. And then the very next day on Sunday, we have another $500 contest that is going to be Kentucky Derby betting challenge seats on the line. So we have 2 major qualifiers this weekend coming up that's going to award seats. And the big one for this particular month, one of those kind of mid-majors that I referenced earlier on Clark Day, which is the day after Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I love the day after Thanksgiving because you get to stuff your face with leftovers and watch great horse racing. And we have a great tournament, the debut of the Clark Betting Challenge, $2,000 cash prizes, KDBC seats, and NHC seats. So definitely looking forward to that as well.
It's been fantastic. And like I said, one of the main points of the show is to teach people how to play in these contests, and for experienced players, maybe to give them some thoughts and some updates on what to do. Darren Zocali, you've been awesome. We really appreciate you coming. I think you got to go coach your world-renowned 4th graders to another basketball championship. So we're going to let you go, my friend. But you will be on, several times throughout these shows, not on a weekly basis, but you'll be on quite a bit to give people updates. So thanks a lot for coming on, Darren. I really appreciate it. Have a great night.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on. Great to start this partnership, and have a great first show. We'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot. Take care, Darren. All right, bye-bye. All right, Darren Zocali. Great job with TwinSpires. Again, he's the he does a great job. He's the director of loyalty and retention, but really he is the main guy for contest play. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So for people that are familiar with this podcast, usually our shows, they range in length of time, but this particular show is only going to be about 30 to 40 minutes. I would say maximum 40 minutes. One of the reasons is because we have a great live show right after this called Betting and Boozing. So you will end this show, at approximately 7:40 Eastern, and then great show with Kyle Roscoe, Betting and Boozing. They're going to be previewing the Aqueduct Late Pick 5 on Saturday with some stake races. So don't go anywhere for that. Let me bring on my co-host for this show. Now, like I said, I'm going to bring on all three of our co-hosts, but on a weekly basis, there will only be two. One gentleman who will be on as much as possible, pretty much every week, is simply one of the best tournament players in the world. And I'm saying that with him off screen because he'd probably poo-poo it and give like a one of these kind of faces or something. Or he might just give a big thumbs up and flex like that. Matt Miller, one of our co-hosts. Matt, how you doing?
You weren't supposed to bring me on making gestures like that.
Of course. You wanted me to do that. Of course.
I'm doing great. I'm thrilled to be here. Sad to miss the chance to say hey to Darren. I never in my life expected to have this good a relationship with the tournament guy at some ADW. And he is anything but just that. The guy's fantastic. What he said about taking customer feedback and what we're looking for and building it into the product. I can't say enough nice things. And people that know me know it has nothing to do with a sponsorship on the show. I've been banging this drum for a long time. This TwinSpires tournament action is good stuff.
Absolutely. And to help us out along with yourself, of course, you have a book. Oh, that's fantastic, which we can talk about throughout these shows and mention it, because a better way of thinking is not only is it excellent for your day-to-day betting, but obviously there's tournament emphasis in there. So we will, talk about that as well as we go along. We've got two fantastic handicappers that are on our podcast family that obviously have done a great job. What I love about these two guys we're going to bring on, Matt, is that they're really interested and enthralled in the contest world. Not everyone likes playing contests. These guys have embraced it fully. They're very active on TwinSpires contests, and they've had some very good success. And if you are a TwinSpires contest player, you've seen these names on the leaderboard. I'm very proud to have them on as co-hosts for our show called The Leaderboard. They are both from the West Coast. One of them is a senior at UK, and he's also the host of Pacific Horse Players. Let me bring that gentleman on. Noah Maher, and a co-host of Pacific Horse Players. He's also on the Gallop Out with Ryan Anderson, a fantastic podcast, also on YouTube, does work for In the Money Media. Mr. Jackson Muniz. Noah Jackson, welcome officially to the leaderboard. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. Excited for this partnership.
Yeah, what he said.
There you go. I just moved it. Sorry, Jackson. Bad timing. Let me ask you guys a quick question. Then we're going to get into what happened this past Saturday, guys, and look at some contest plays from this past Saturday's contest. I'm going to start with you first, Jackson. Horse racing contests. Why do you play them? How did you get interested in them?
I play them because I'm super competitive. I love the competition, and I know technically with the pari-mutuel game, you are playing against other people, but with the tournament, you can see your name on the leaderboard. You know exactly who you're playing against. You know exactly what the prize pool is. And I got to give a little credit to Matt here. I do like the most about these tournaments is that it gives you a very precise, goal for the day. You're not just playing and playing and playing, keep playing. Like, no, I'm trying to win this tournament. I'm trying to get to this target. And once I get there, good. And I mean, it's either good enough or it's not, or you have to push a little bit further. But, how many times do we hit the first or second race of the day and it's our best opinion, and then we still end up losing on the day because all of a sudden we're up $500 and we're betting an extra $100 per race for the rest of the day. So I think tournaments provide great structure, and they're also just a ton of fun. So that's basically how I've been getting into them.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Chris Couples chimes in. We're going to have, if you're new to the show or new to the podcast, you can, and you're on YouTube, actually you can do it on X as well, join our live chat. We have a lot of people right now in the live chat. We can bring up comments like from Chris Couples, who's an excellent contest player. Said loves the daily contest, big or small, takeout reducer, and fun times. I think Chris actually had a pretty good day today, Matt, which we'll get to in just a minute. Coincidentally, we got Matt Majunkin also in the chat. Very excited. Matt is an unbelievable tournament player. He's just been rocking it out. Had the pleasure to meet him. Matt, thanks for joining the show. Appreciate that. We got Racing Downwind, Dave Duncan. Matt, congrats on your SGT success. Well done, my friend, to you. So that's awesome. We have Kevin Lux, who has been my nemesis a little bit on some other tournaments. He's a really good tournament player. He's here. Kevin, thanks for joining the show. Again, the best thing to do, ladies and gentlemen, is spread the word about this show because we welcome everyone, even DGen. So there we go. Hi, Iris. Thanks for joining the show. We take that as a compliment, right, guys? So look, no problem there. No, let me throw the same question to you. Obviously, you've been in the game quite a while, even despite your age, of course. I know you joked that you were reading a form probably way before your mom especially wanted you to know what all those numbers were. But why contests, especially for the Gen Z and the 20-somethings out there, and why specifically TwinSpires? Because I know you play a lot of TwinSpires contests.
Well, I feel like my story is kind of similar to Jackson, in where I played a lot of sports growing up, and I was very, very competitive. Had some sisters too that were also, into sports and athletic and very competitive. So once I found out that, I didn't have to bet against the world, I could bet against other people and see my name on the top of the leaderboard and other people at the bottom. I thought that was a pretty good feeling. So it was at the Derby where I was with Matt. Well, you were there, Howard.
Yeah.
Matt was playing the KDBC through TwinSpires, and he was just talking about all the promotions they've got and the small cash contests that you can get into that Darren was referring to. So a bunch of good stuff for people like me that are low budget or college budget. So got into that the week after. And then even if we weren't sponsored by the show, I'd be saying that I've loved it ever since.
Yeah. Look, I really enjoy the contest play, and if people are again not involved in it, they really should. All right, guys, let's get through what we were planning on doing again for this weekly format so people have an understanding. The first thing we're going to do, and we're going to move through these pretty quickly, is very briefly talk about what happened this past Saturday. I'm going to get this ready on the screen, and Matt, I'm going to talk about it. They have many contests on Saturdays at TwinSpires, right? But some of them are different price structures, etc. As I'm bringing up the one from this past Saturday, there's some really good stake races, by the way. Jackson, Noah, you guys know specifically. In fact, I think the card ended with 2 stake races, which is pretty unusual for the last race of the day to be a stake race. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. Let me go and bring up the results right now on the screen. And what we're going to do here, and Matt, I'm going to let you sort of take the lead a little bit on these weekly shows for this segment, is just talk about what the winner did, because we can see that's another cool thing, by the way. You can see the bets that they make throughout the entire contest on TwinSpires here, and talk about what all the winners won, etc. So this, as I go full screen here, it was a $500. It was a Clark Betting Challenge qualifier. Of course, Darren Zocali talked about that, Matt. There's a big tournament the day after Thanksgiving. You could see that you start with $250, and I think people can read that. They're pretty big up. James Metzger moved up 5 places. You see that up arrow, green 5. Moved up 5 places in the last race, finished with 27.68. Congrats to him and his big play. Wow. A $200 win bet. You can see there on the screen on the winner, and that horse paid, I believe, like 10-1 or so. So actually, you could do the math. It was actually bigger, about 12-1. Nice gutsy play. I don't know if he did that, Matt, because he felt like that was the only way to win, or he really liked the horse that win, which I'll bring on the screen in a second. But a hell of a job by James Metzger to win this past Saturday.
A hell of a job. And it's interesting. We're going to start making a point that almost sounds negative, but it's intended to sound quite positive. He did a great job, no question about it. The question is, did he do too good a job? And I know that almost sounds a little silly, but this is one of the things we're going to talk about on these shows. I'm looking at the center of the screen that shows 64 entries. And if you go down on the left, you will see the prize structure shows you it is the same prize first through 8th. There's no additional cash. So, one of the lessons we're going to be pointing out on these shows is how to really look at the prize structure and let that determine your play. there's no way I'm going to sit here saying anything other than great things about a $2,700 score in a tournament like this. But for me, the far more interesting part of these things is going down to 7th, 8th, 9th. I mean, again, they're fighting for the same exact prize. And look at what happened this week. I mean, so it's amazing. Somebody got in 8th place with $349 off of a starting bankroll of $250. And if for people at home, you're thinking to yourself, well, that doesn't sound so crazy. This is pretty doable. Yeah, it's really, really doable. And so don't look at that top number and get intimidated. Maybe for a very top heavy tournament with a lot of cash at the top and other big prizes, sure. But for this tournament, I completely have redefined success in my mind to mean for a tournament of this nature. I would define it as a comfortable 8th, meaning I can't stand the sweating at the end. Someone that you'll see on the leaderboard quite a bit, Greg Lewis, lives in that world, and it makes me crazy how he's constantly so close to the line. So I try to get a little bit away from the danger zone.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, you see in this one tournament that you happen to pick, and I'm going to pick on a friend in a second, and it's not going to be nice. But you see this wide range of scores. I'm going to take something we're going to talk about later, Howard, and we're going to I want to hit the pause button on this tournament. We're going to come back to it because I know you're going to ask me for a couple tips on the day.
Yeah.
And there's one sitting in this tournament that I want to talk about.
Okay. So I just want to mention the 8th place. The reason why there's a drop off, ladies and gentlemen, between 8th and 9th is for the obvious reason that Matt brought up, is that when you look at the prize structure, the Clark betting challenge seats, what, 2,500? Is that correct? I think that's what he said.
I think it's $2,000.
It's 2,000. So went down to 8th. So obviously why, and congrats to Clara Rodman, who made an interesting play there. She did win play show on 5 different horses. Looks like 5 times 6. Those were $6 win play shows is what it looks like on 5 different horses. I'm assuming all those horses were longer shots. I mean, we could go back and look at it. I'm assuming that's what, so the one, actually, this is not the post time odds. Let's see here. So the one, these were all longer prices. So Mount Rundle was 73 to 1. So she bet the same amount for each one, which I don't think anyone on the screen would necessarily recommend. That being said, the fact that it looks like she bet on a bunch of long shots was a really nice play, and one of them happened to win, Matt. So that worked out very nicely for Clara.
And I think, again, without getting directly into her head, she may have been in the mode of just protect my balance and hope it's good enough from here.
Right.
This isn't someone that was just shoving every dollar they had on one horse or some huge long shot or whatever. So there's also people that get to the end of these, and we can talk about this on another show, where I don't know if it's gun shy. I don't know if it's uncertainty about what it's going to take to win. But there are people that they want to finish with cash balances. This is real money. And I can't tell someone how to value their money. I just gently try to point back to the fact that you paid a price to enter the tournament and have access to the prize pool, and you should use it, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Noah and Jackson, we're going to be, so people are wondering, when are Noah and Jackson going to chime in on this stuff? So the format that we're going to use mainly is we're all going to be chiming in. And again, Noah and Jackson, only one of them will be on the screen normally for our shows. But when we get into one of our next segments, guys, where we talk about this upcoming Saturday and possible plays you might want to make, that's when we're going to lean on Jackson and Noah. And of course, I'll be chiming in on everything as well. Guys, let's very quickly talk about the tournament leaderboard, and then Jackson and Noah, we're going to get to you guys. And Noah and Jackson, feel free to chime in on any names you see here, and you can laud their praise. I think Noah's going to see a friend of his here at the top of the leaderboard. He knows what I'm talking about. A mortal enemy of Matt Miller. Just kidding, everyone. Here's the tournament leaderboard, Matt, right now. Very quickly, Matt, explain what people are looking at.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I've petitioned Darren to rename Ryan Petruniak Anakin Skywalker, because I feel like he's become a trained Jedi that is probably better with the lightsaber than the guy that trained him at this point. So when you click on the leaderboard, there's 2 things you see. One is an overall season-long leaderboard. It's supposed to last about a year, and they've got a nice prize structure for that. Just being direct, there's not a ton of change week to week with that main leaderboard. We've all got the maximum 40 possible scores, and now we're all just trying to improve those scores. Ryan's been a monster. He's absolutely fantastic. That's my buddy Brad Anderson in third. The one thing.
Who's this guy in 15th? Who? Jackson Money. Jackson, nice job, my friend.
Well,
we're inching up. We're getting better and better.
And if you scroll to the right, you'll see that he has a ton of room for to the right. Will it do it? Yeah. If you go to the right, it shows you his lowest score that is next to be eliminated if he improves upon. Mm-hmm. Well, no offense, Jackson, like that's a rotten score. And so the next time you go in and do anything good, you're going to be improving quickly. Once you get to the top of the board, it is real hard to replace those top scores. So you have a ton of mobility from here. Just keep doing what you're doing. Same thing with you.
And then below it, Matt?
And below it, so they've also broken up. They didn't want to just create a season-long thing. That might just be too boring with not enough change. I'm not sure, but they've got 4 separate, I'll call them quarterly tournaments, where there is some change. Brad won, I think, the first. I think I got the second. Ryan got the third. I might have them confused. But the bottom line is that resets every session. And so even if you say, well, it feels a little late for me in November, which I'm not sure it is, because it's only your top 8 that count for that session. Maybe it's a little late if you're truly just jumping in, but yeah, start next session and go right at it. And there's thousands of dollars of bonus prizes on top of the other money you win doing this.
It's great. It's fantastic. They've really done a great job with the whole format. Jackson, Noah. Now this Saturday, everyone, big tournament. They and what Darren didn't mention that much that I think needs to be mentioned is there's going to be a lot more emphasis, ladies and gentlemen, on qualifiers for the NHC coming up. So the NHC, of course, is in Vegas. There's 2 major tournaments that everyone knows about. That one is in mid-March. Then, of course, the BCBC, which just happened. But the NHC, you have to earn your way in. You cannot buy your way into the NHC, as you guys know. So TwinSpires contest, they're going to have approximately, I was told by Darren, 2 per month, which is great. So 2 NHC qualifiers, guys, per month, where anyone, if you get into a top, depending on how many people are going to be in the contest, this particular one Saturday's top 2 guys could get into the NHC. Noah and Jackson, let's talk about this weekend. There it is, the $500 Churchill Downs Claiming Crown this weekend is the Claiming Crown Championships. We are going to be previewing, we meaning Picks and Ponies, myself, Paul Halloran, and Pete Visco. We're going to be talking about the late pick 5 tomorrow, Thursday, live at 8 p.m. Eastern. So we're not going to get into the weeds, guys, in great detail, but $500 Claiming Crowd NHC qualifier. Jackson, let's go to you first. Have you looked at the early part of the card? I have the PPs ready if you want to bring up a horse or a race, maybe an early spot that people might want to try to crush their bets and get an early start in the Saturday card for the Claiming Crowd NHC qualifier contest.
Yeah, I kind of like the first race a little bit, so maybe we'll start there.
Yep, I got it right here, my friend.
Yeah, and look, this is the other thing I got to talk about a little bit is when you're playing this contest, I know I like to pick spots that I think are somewhat straightforward, and you can narrow it down to a couple of main contenders. This Saturday card, I went through the whole card already. I mean, every single race I looked at, it's brutal. They're wide open. They're super, super competitive, large fields. So I would be looking at an earlier spot such as this one where I think I can kind of narrow it down a little bit. And I went to the 5. That's the horse Query for Thomas Drury. That ran really well at Keeneland last time in a race where I was completely against him that day. I hated him. And he was up on a fast pace. They set red fractions the whole time. He kicked clear in the stretch like he was going to win like a good thing, and he just got a little too tired late. I think the pace took its toll. The horses that passed him late came from the clouds. I mean, this is my kind of horse who ran well despite having things going against him. And now in Saturday's race, it looks like there's not nearly as much speed as there was in that race. He'll have a much easier time of it on the front end. And if you can get, I am playing in the contest on Saturday, playing with my buddy Mikey. I'm going to try to convince him a little bit. This is a horse I like quite a bit, so maybe we'll try to make an early.
Bring it on, baby. I'm going to be there. Matt's going to be there. Maybe Noah's going to be in there. The tough thing about that race, and again, we're just gonna be very brief here. Project Ace, who finished a heartbreaking nose, was a power pick spot play at 4.5 to 1, and just couldn't find room early enough. I think you probably remember that race because a lot of us bet that horse. That was a spot play. It was one of the most brutal losses I think I've had for my spot plays ever on our tip sheet. But anyway, so Noah Jackson is interested in race 1, which is a restricted main special weight. Noah, really quickly, where people don't know, we'll talk about this a lot more tomorrow night. Why are there such big fields, and why does the claiming crown so challenging? Because there are horses coming from all over the country, number one. And number two, because of the condition of these races, which you can expound on just a little bit, you got horses that are coming from stake races and horses that are coming from 12 claimers. I mean, in the same race. It's just a very bizarre situation this Saturday.
Yeah, and I think the end result is to benefit the horses and horsemen that participate in some of these races. A lot of times you'll get connections that just don't have the quality that is able to maybe compete in some stakes races or high level allowance. So they give that opportunity through the purse structure to reward those that are kind of the backbone of the industry. So it's great that they do. They do it every year. I think they've had it at maybe Fairgrounds one of the last couple of years, but they've had it at Churchill Downs, at least a CDI around the last couple of years. And like you mentioned, you get odd kind of running lines where you'll see horses in those high level allowance races and low level stakes races that are eligible for the allowance races that they have on Saturday. So it's good to see a little bit of a mix, but it's also a challenge because you don't know who's going to stack up against who, and it's really a tough truck, I think.
Is there a particular early spot that you've noticed, Noah, just glancing at the card, which has been out, by the way, since Sunday night, everyone?
Yeah, funny enough, I actually am a little interested in the horse that you liked last time, just because I think traditionally it's a little tough to make up a lot of ground going a mile 16th at Keeneland, and I think the longer stretch under the TwinSpires at Churchill Downs is going to help him a little bit. But I'll talk about the Chaluki because I think that's a pretty fascinating race. You can make a case, I think, a good case for at least 3, if not 4 of the favorites in there. I'm going to go to Shred the Gnar, who has been off for some time for Brian Lynch in Saez and Flying Dutchman. I know Flying Dutchman, we've seen some instances where they've kind of taken the reins and maybe thrown their horses into spots where they don't necessarily belong. But the fact that she was very, very professional in some of those races as an early 3-year-old, Brian's given her the time that she needed. Obviously, something happened, but she's been back and working in the mornings for at least over a month. They paid a pretty hefty price for her at Fasig-Tipton. They paid over $600,000. So I know Brian's kind of always thought highly of her. And as I go through some of these favorites, I think you could maybe poke some holes. I'm not exactly sure if One Magic Philly wants to go 8 furlongs. The same can kind of be said for Ragtime, who didn't really show a ton of speed last time in the Raven Run. They throw their blinkers back on her. And then Impel is one who I've never gotten right. She kind of started to figure things out over the summer. Was a little bit too far back last time, I thought, in the Gallant Bloom, but there's really not a ton of speed in this race, similarly to the first race. And anytime you get size on a speed horse like this, I think the question is probably whether she's going to be ready off the layoff.
Yeah, it's a really interesting race. I have some opinions on it, but you know what, Noah, you can poke a hole on Shred the Gnar. Like, where's she been? I mean, obviously there are a lot of big time races, Jackson, that she could have been in on the East Coast and the Midwest, and she missed all of them. Although it's hard to believe that she wouldn't be right for this effort here. Matt and Noah and Jackson, we have about 5 or 6 minutes left. Matt, just very quickly, we'll talk about the last race, and then we'll start wrapping up the show, and you can give a tip of the day that you'd like to mention. Are you looking specifically at lower price horses with your crush early play? Or are you looking at smaller fields or a combination of both? Or what do you look at in particular for that early crush that I know a lot of people notice that you do in tournaments?
Totally depends on the tournament. And so this is the type of tournament that's probably, for the way I play, going to take 2 hits. And so I'm looking for some kind of bankroll builder right away. I happen to like this 3rd race quite a bit. And without getting overly complicated on our first show, with a 2-entry strategy, this 3rd race looks very attractive to me. I love Ragtime. I think One Magic Philly's interesting and Shred the Gnar's interesting. Might be able to play those up in some doubles.
You want to read what it says at the bottom, Matt?
I see it. Let's go, Bob. You're ready, and you've got my phone number, so I'm happy to talk you through it.
So Matt didn't listen to directions, just like my students. He didn't read it. It says at the bottom, we have audio listeners, Matt. Just kidding, my friend. It says Bob Segura a great friend of the podcast. I'm ready to play my first tournament. This is exactly what we want to see, Matt. And there's, again, well, this is for another show, but you can buy into much, much lower prices. Like Bob, don't buy into this one, Bob. We're talking about respectfully. This is a big one. It's $500. It's not really a money thing. It's just the best players are going to be playing in this one. Bob, there's plenty of upper opportunities for beginning level players. We'll get into that. But anyway, sorry, Matt, finish your thought.
No, that's fine. And that'll be a topic for another show, frankly, is game selection and price points. And, one of the things that comes with the price point is the multiple of your starting bankroll you're typically going to need to do well. So you can go through the ended tournaments on this website and look and see for tournaments of this entry size, this did well. For the larger ones, you needed more. So I told you I had tips of the day. I have 2 tips for today. Tip number 1. We talk in the BCBC and the other big contests quite a bit about the starting multiple of your starting bankroll it's going to take to win. Let's take what we learned earlier as we looked at that other tournament that had 8 spots. My recommendation is that as people create what they think is their target or their number that they need to get, there should be a high and a low. It shouldn't just be to win. It's helpful to know what snuck in for 8th. It's just as good as winning. And so I've really changed my mentality in these tournaments of targeting a range. The second thing, and I'm picking on a friend who's a terrific competitor in the same way I pick on myself repeatedly throughout my book. So for anyone that thinks that is one big flex, you got another thing coming. I talk about every mistake I've ever made. And I needed on this first show to talk about disqualifications. Our buddy Matt McJunkin, who is a phenomenal player, if you look at that tournament, had enough money to finish in the prize pool, but somehow, when you look at the rules of the tournament, just barely tripped one of those things up. And when you look at the simple rules, and I promise they are simple, it is so easy to trip these things up. I've been DQ'd before. I think every player I know has been DQ'd. It sure stinks when it's in a more valuable contest like this one. But honestly, as dumb as the advice sounds, the best advice I can give to someone new is just pay attention to those rules. I'm going to take one more second because it's so helpful. There's 2 rules. You got to bet your whole bankroll. These are the typical contests. And the other is you have to bet a certain amount per race in a certain number of races. Here's the insidious part. People think that take the number of races times the amount you have to bet, and that equals your whole bankroll. And it doesn't. There's still a bit of a gap. So simple rules, but follow them. Don't get DQ'd. It's so embarrassing. It's so frustrating. And then we come on a podcast and talk about a friend. Sorry, Matt. But honestly, it's
right off the start, first episode. Why not?
Oh no, I mean, and look, like I said, I've done it myself. It's a question of how many times you have to pay to learn that lesson. And I think for me, it's maybe 1 or 2, and hopefully we'll keep it to that.
That's great advice. Last part of the show here, very quickly. Jackson and Noah, have you looked at the last race? Your opinions on should Peel play the last race or not? The tricky part, guys, as we've said, is these field sizes are massive. Also, with like 4 or 5 AEs are also eligibles. So even if there's scratches, Noah, they're going to fill in to big fields. The last race is a turf race of a huge field. Any thoughts on the last race at all? Or would you maybe skip the last race, Noah?
I think Matt would agree in saying it depends on where you're at and what your goal is in the contest. If you're trying to win the thing, you're most likely more than not going to have to play the last race. If you're in one of those that we just talked about from last Saturday and you're in 5th or 6th and you've met all your minimums, then maybe this is a race that you just kind of watch and maybe hope that you get the top 8. But I think Jackson would agree. This race probably runs through the favorite and the 3 risk managers, 2-1 on the line, and Maker's got another one in here. But there's really not a ton of speed in the race to set it up for him. I think the easy alternative would probably be the 9 Echo Lane, who's not a much better price, but he's the second choice. He's going to be much more forwardly placed in a race, again, that doesn't have a lot of speed in it. And he's one that's been fond of the Churchill turf. So if you got to play the race, I'd maybe look at the 9 Echo Lane.
And the one thing, Jackson, that's going to be really fun about Saturday, and we highly encourage everyone to play, is these field sizes are so massive, Jackson, that your 2-to-1, 2-to-1 double, instead of paying, I'll just throw a number out there. I mean, if you do the strict math, it should only pay about $12 to $14 on a $2 double. That's strictly by the math. For those people who don't know, I'm a 29-year high school veteran math teacher, so I do understand the numbers pretty well. It doesn't mean I can pick the horses correctly, but sometimes I do just fine. These doubles, because the field size is so large, Jackson, are going to pay better than normal.
Oh, definitely. Just like you said, there's 14 horses in the race before, I think, and there's 12 or so in the last race. You're going to get value no matter what you like. This race kind of reminds me of the contests from last Saturday, where it's just such a grab bag. I mean, the favorites deserve to be favored, but boy, they are not layovers by any means. This is a contest, I think, where I want to hit early, post a big number, and tell Matt and Noah and Howard, come catch me. Good luck winning these 14 horse fields. Come, you guys have a tougher job. Come win those races and try to come catch me.
And Matt, we're going to wrap it up here, but it's important to note there's going to only two. This is going to be a very top-heavy tournament with only 2 NHC seats. People are going to be very aggressive at the end of these contests if their goal is to win an NHC seat. And I would assume most people in this contest, Matt, that is their goal.
Absolutely, this is going to be the goal. So this is an unusual one. It's top-heavy. I would say fire early to get your bankroll up there to minimize the effect of the minimums on your bankroll, and be ready, whether you like it or not, to fire into that last race, because people are going to be going for this.
It's amazing. Guys, episode 1's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Again, Matt Miller will be on as much as possible. Either Jackson or Noah very most likely will be on as a second co-host. And we're going to bring you just extensive coverage of contest play through TwinSpires right here on the leaderboard. For Matt, one more thing.
Real quick.
Jackson?
Saturday. Are we doing this live show Saturday?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Thank you. This Saturday, we have a show called Weekend Warriors. It is live on our YouTube channel. It's going to be from 4 to 6 o'clock Eastern. We will be in real time talking about the tournament. So if you're a tournament player, join us on Weekend Warriors this Saturday. We're not going to be rotating around 5 or 6 different tracks. It's going to be specific to Churchill and this contest, and some of us on the screen hopefully will be alive right to the very end, and we'll be talking about it. So you definitely want to tell everyone about Weekend Warriors this Saturday. Thanks, Jackson, for reminding me. 4 to 6. Matt, real quick.
Chris Couples came in first and second at the Aqueduct contest today and crushed it. The reason, so good for you, Chris, and terrific. I would say whether it's the Saturday shows, whether it's this one, I personally think as we get some of these going, to find people like Matt McJunkin and Kevin Lux and Ryan Petruniak and the names that we see, we are going to make these into real people and get them on these shows and talk to them about some stuff. So we'll make this fun.
I'll tell you, really cool is to get them on Saturday during the contest.
Oh, yeah.
See what we can, we might find a little bit of info they're not ready to give, a little edge for us. I don't know. We'll see. No, that's not why we would have them in. Anyway, greatly appreciate Weekend Warriors. We got in 15 minutes here live on Wednesday night. We have Benton and Boozin talking about New York on Saturday. So come back to this channel very soon. For my good friends and co-hosts, Matt Miller, Jackson Muniz, Noah Maher, this has been Howard Kravets, the world premiere episode number 1 of The Leaderboard, sponsored by TwinSpires. Crush your bets this Saturday in the TwinSpires tournament. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his HHH Horse Racing Podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.